couple of things to get into today. So we have a question on the Discord. Now it is from back in it's January. It's January. It's from Fabio. I would love to hear both of your opinions on if you had the task of managing the FSG affiliated club, where would you base it and which players would you prioritize in signing there? So if FSG, the plan apparently is to buy a second club, where would you like to see it based? Do you have a preference? Would you be in favor of a European club, a South American club? If in Europe, where do you think is a league that makes sense? Because obviously you're not going to buy an elite level club, but you don't want to buy a club that's not going to be competitive. And what would there be specific markets that you might target, or would it just be a kind of a blanket, the best young players we can accumulate is who we bring in?
This is a really good question, actually. And obviously there's no wrong answer here at all. So that is part of the fun of it, to be perfectly honest. I personally would be looking at somewhere like France, I think. If you're thinking of an FSG affiliate is that players eventually go to Liverpool, or the profits that they make obviously helps first the affiliate club and over a longer period Liverpool improve, or the whole network improve. I would be looking for somewhere that has really good competition, that has a really good history of letting younger players thrive and develop their game, somewhere where there's going to be at least some overlap in terms of similarity of culture, weather, football style, all the rest of it. I think most of the overlaps there tend to come in either the Bundesliga, the Eredivisie, or in Liga. And out of all of them, I think for range of competition, where you don't have to get a really, really top-level team straight away, but you are still going to get some competition, it has to be France's league for me. I think Bundesliga might be a little bit too good across the board. And
It's also difficult there as well with the 50+1 rule.
100%, yeah. And Portugal, I think, is the opposite direction. I think it's too poor there, to be honest, across too much of the league. So I think France is a really, really good landing point for that. Bordeaux would have been really good if that one had worked out, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. I think you're right. Like, there's benefits to Portugal. There's relaxed rules on immigration, so it's a lot easier to bring players in from South America and from Africa. But like you said, the league, especially this season, we've seen a significant step back from a number of teams, and more of a re-centralization of the pure power of the league within the big three. Braga have stepped back, Vitoria have stepped back. They haven't been great at all this year. Germany has the 50+1 rule, which makes it very difficult. I think the Eredivisie is quite a poor league. I think the standard is very low. I think I would actually rather buy in Belgium than in the Netherlands, even though I agree we think there's more similarities in the football in the Eredivisie. So I do think France, if you're buying in Europe, France is where you go. I also think there's a natural pipeline of talent in France.
Yeah.
This run that we've seen over the last 8-9 years of elite level talents emerging, just every single season, it seems like there's at least another one or two elite prospects just popping up. And it's not like they're centralized in one region or one club. They're coming through all over the place. And when you look at, the top French players and you look at the origin of them and where they've come from, there's a wide range of clubs that are producing these players. So I agree with you. I think Bordeaux would have been a great one. It's a historic club as well. You've got a built-in fan base that's going to be, passionate. You've got good facilities that can be improved upon, but they're not going to cost silly money to do. It's not like you're taking over, a real rundown stadium and having to outlay for a new stadium or an old outdated training center and having to do that, or, having to build a new academy or anything like that. You can just improve on what's already there. So if it's Europe, it's definitely France for me. There is a part of me that thinks go and buy a club in South America and try and use it as a hub to centralize talent from from Argentina, from Brazil, from Paraguay, Colombia, Uruguay, wherever, Chile. So I would maybe be looking at a club in Uruguay, because I think it might be a little bit easier to do there than in Brazil or in Argentina. Now that the caliber of the league is not as good, but I do think there will be opportunities there. But then you have the issue of, you develop them there. Maybe you can play in Copa Libertadores, so you are playing at a high level, but it's not going to be a large sample size, and it's still a very unknown question then when you bring those players to Europe. It just could be a way, you look at some certain players like Moises Caicedo. It could be a way to find players like him, rather than waiting for them to land with a Palmeiras and having to pay 60 million to get them, the way it's been with, Estevao, with Luis Guilherme went to West Ham for like 35. The kid at Real, whose name is escaping me at the moment, was 60. Before that, you had Rodrigo and Vinny, were 50 odd each. It might just be a way to get these players a little bit earlier, the way Brighton did with Moises, and you get them on the cheap. But it does make more sense to go with a club in Europe. And if you're going to target those South American players, maybe you set up some sort of satellite academy there and try and find them that way, and then bring them to your club in France to develop them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a non-European club would be a third step.
Yeah, that's true.
If the multi-club model is anything to do with getting people to Liverpool, it definitely wouldn't be my first port call. If it's just a case of expanding their own operations, because it's financially viable for them to do so, then that really has no relevance to Liverpool whatsoever, and it doesn't really matter where they go. You can go to Mexico, where there's an outrageous number of players who will fill, and there's good spaces available for Mexican clubs to play in continental football competitions and that kind of thing. So if it's not about getting players to Liverpool or having the possibility to do so, then anywhere, it doesn't really matter then, does it? But if it is a case of we're looking for people to eventually have a pathway to Liverpool, then I do think, let's say, if it's France first or somewhere else in Europe, then probably South America would be my second or third call then. I would possibly, depending on which club in France and depending on which area it is and what their sort of the club culture already is, in terms of, are they one of the French clubs who have really good ties to Africa already, and a lot of areas of the country, obviously, where they might already have sort of different regions which are populated by people who have moved to France, then another club in Africa is also an option there, and then one later down the line in South America. So all of that would be a bit further down the line afterwards for me.
I do wonder if a club like Metz could make sense, because it's a sizable club. They've got a good infrastructure. There's a really good track record of developing players. In recent years, there's been Lamine Camara, Pat Matar Sarr, obviously before that Sadio Mane. So they do have a pipeline from Africa to the club already, and maybe that's then something you can expand on. I don't know if that's a club that's even for sale or anything, but they were relegated last year. Doesn't look like promotion is going to be forthcoming this year, although, to be fair, they are fourth in the league. They might end up in the playoff to come up, but we'll see. I think France is right, and I think the African pipeline is definitely something to heavily explore, because there's just such an array of talent coming from there as well. But I do think you can localize your scouting as well, because again, with France, with the diverse nature of the French population as well, you've got a lot of Africans and South Americans that have come to France in their childhood and come up through the ranks of different clubs. Plus obviously the more local people as well.
Right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.